Hi all, welcome to my YouTube channel, JavaProgram Technologies Private Limited. So in previous sessions, we have been discussing a little bit about introduction of Java, and then after introduction of Java, we try to see what are the advantages of Java, or we try to learn a little bit about features of Java, right? So in today's session, so we'll try to get started with a basic programming. Okay, guys. So let me just share my screen. So as I told you, like guys, so in our first video, we tried to see the introduction of Java, like we try to understand what is Java and what are the different types of applications we'll be able to develop by learning Java. Then after that, in the second session, we try to learn a little bit about features of Java, like why Java is very popular when compared to other programming languages. So in today's session, so what we'll try to do, so we'll try to start coding. So slowly we'll try to write some small programs and we'll try to compile them and we'll try to execute them. Okay, guys. So in today's session, so I'm thinking to accommodate two programs. Okay. So let's see how time permits. So the first program, what we'll try to say is like we'll try to take two parameters. Okay. So we'll try to take two parameters and then let's display those values and then second program what I'm thinking is like, so let us try to write one small Java program, so where it will try to do addition of any two numbers. So I just wanted to accommodate these two programs in today's session, so let's start it, guys. Okay, or otherwise let me create a new this. Okay, let's take a new page. So what is the first program we are thinking to start? So like taking two parameters and display those values. Okay, so fine guys, let's get started. So guys, just give me 2 minutes of time. So if you give 2 minutes of time, I'll try to write the program. After writing the program, then I'll try to explain each and every step. So fine guys, so we are done with the program. So let's try to understand this program step by step. Okay, I'm sorry guys. So first, what I have done, I have written one Java program. So program name, I have given it as welcome guys. So if you look at the program, so the starting letter I have given it in a capital letter, and the rest of the letters I have given it in a small letter. So if you want, you can give the entire program name in a capital letter, or you can give the entire program in a small letter. There is nothing wrong. But so if you take any programming language, so every programming language will have certain kind of a standard. So in case of Java, whenever they want to create any Java program, so the program name will always start with a capital letter. So this is the standard of Java. And if you go for any IT company, okay, you take any IT company in the world, so they also follow the same standard. So this we call it as a camel case. So we'll try to go according to the Java standard as well as the IT standard. So I have taken one Java program. So program name I have given it as welcome. So in Java, whenever you are going to write any program, okay, so the program should always start with a keyword, something called as a class. So that is the reason I have written class welcome. So welcome is nothing but your Java program name, and the program should always start with a keyword, something called as class. So I'm trying to keep class keyword in front of my program name. Then, and the program, it always starts with a flower bracket, and it always ends with a flower bracket. So if you see, I have started the flower bracket at line number 1, and if you are able to identify at line number 17, the program is getting ended. Now, inside this class, so I have taken two variables. So first variable name, I have taken it as name, and it is of type string data type. And second variable, I have taken it as MSG. So in shortcut message, I have given it as MSG, and it is of type string type. So whenever we say variables, okay, so just for your understanding purpose, I am trying to explain you this. So whenever you say variables, so variables are generally used for storing certain kind of information. And in front of the variable, I try to keep a data type, something called as a string. Okay, so the data type decides what value you can store inside a variable. Getting my point? So name is a variable. So this is generally used for holding some value. Okay, and what type of value should this name variable should hold will be specified by your data type. So here I am trying to give the data type as string. Means inside this variable, a user can store a group of characters. So whenever we say string, so string is a data type which allows us to store a group of characters. Or we can think in such a way that whenever you want to store a group of characters inside a variable, then we specify its data type as string. Got it, guys? So in this scenario, I have taken two variables. First variable, I have taken it as name, and second variable, I have taken it as message, and both of them are of string data type. Means inside these two variables, we'll be able to store a group of characters. Now, if you see inside this variable, name variable, and inside this MSG variable, we haven't stored any values. Correct? We just simply define the variable. So in order to store the value inside this name variable, and in order to store a value inside this MSG variable, I have written one method. So the method name is called as a store details method. Okay. So I have written one method. Method name I have given it as store details method. Again, if you see starting letter of the method, I have given it is a small letter. Okay. And next important word I have given it as a the next important word I have given it as a capital letter. So in case of Java, okay, in Java standards, method always starts with small letter. Again, there is nothing wrong. You can write the entire method name as a capital letters, or you can write entire method name in small letters. There is nothing wrong. But again, this is the Java standard. So in case of a class, it starts with a capital letter, and in case of method, it starts with a small letter. Okay, so method name I have given it as store details method. Now in front of this method, I am trying to keep a keyword. So keyword I have given it as void. Means when the user is trying to call to this method, or when the user tries to access this method is not going to return any result to the user. So that is specified by your void keyword. Getting my point? Is so when the user tries to call to this store details method, so for the user, this method is not returning any result, or it is not returning any value. Okay, then in front of void keyword, I have kept an access specifier, something called as public. So in Java, basically we have 4 different types of access specifiers, like public, private, protected, and default. So we'll try to learn more and more about these access specifiers when we go for a topic, something called as access specifiers. So for time being, let's try to understand what is meant by this public access specifier. So whenever you make any method as a public method, then in this scenario, you can call to this method, or you can access to this method from the same program, or you can access it from a different program. For example, I have written one more program called as test. Now, if I want to access to this method, store details method, inside this test method, then it is possible. Getting my point, guys? So whenever you make any method as a public method, then in this scenario, this method can be accessed from the same program, or it can be accessed from a different program. Okay, guys, so that is nothing but your public access specifier. Then after the method name, in the parenthesis brackets, I am trying to take 2 arguments. So first argument I have taken it as n, and second argument they have taken it as, I have taken it as m. So this we call it as an argument or parameter. So what does this specify? Means when the user is trying to call to this method, from the user, it is expecting 2 inputs. Okay, and both the inputs should be of type string data type. Getting my point, guys? So when the user tries to access to this method, so it says, hey user, I need to get 2 values from you, and both the values should be in the form of a string data type. So for example, let's understand when the user is trying to call to the store details method. So user is passing first value as ABC and second value as hello. Then first value will be stored under your n, and second value will be stored under your em. Getting my point? Okay. Then inside this method, what I am trying to specify, name is equal to n. So in any programming language, always the assignment happens from right hand side to left hand side. Getting my point? So in Java, the assignment means storing up of a value always happens from right hand side to left hand side. Now if you see right hand side, I have an argument something called as n. So we thought user is trying to pass first value as ABC. Now n is holding a value something called as ABC, and that ABC is getting copied into your name variable. Now if you see this name variable we try to define at line number 2, right? So in this way, I am trying to store a value inside name as ABC. Then in the next line, I try to specify MSG is equal to M. Again, assignment happens from right hand side to left hand side. Now if you see right hand side, M is an argument which is holding a value something called as hello, and that hello will be stored into your MSG variable. And if you see this MSG variable, so this MSG variable we try to define at line number 3. Okay, guys. Then after this store details method, I have written one more method. The method name I have given it as display details method. I have given the method name as display details method. Now if you see again the starting letter of the method name, I have given it as a small letter D, and the next important word I have given it as a capital letter. Correct? So this we call it as a camel in case. So we can give either in a total capital letters, or we can give entire thing in a small letters, but this is the Java standard. Again, in front of this display details method, I'm trying to keep a keyword something called as void. Means when the user is trying to call to this display details method, for the user, this method is not going to return any result, or it is not going to return any value. Again, in front of my void keyword, I'm trying to keep an access specifier something called as public. Means we can call to this method, or we can access to this method within the same class or in a different class. If you want to access from a different program, we can access it from a different program. Now, inside this method, what we are trying to do? So I have written one statement, something called as system.out.println. So whenever you want to display something onto the console, getting my point, guys? Whenever you want to print some output onto the console, in that scenario, we are going to make use of a statement, something called as system.out.println. So in order, and now I want to print something. So that is the reason I'm trying to keep a statement, something called as system.out.println. Then in the parenthesis bracket, sorry, then I have opened the parenthesis bracket in double quotes. I have given it as hello. So whatever the message that you keep under your double quotes, that will be printed as it is on the console. Okay, that will be printed as it is on the console. Now, after hello or along with this hello, I want to print some additional information. So that is the reason I'm trying to keep a plus symbol. Getting my point, guys? So along with this message, I want to print some extra information. So that is the reason I'm trying to say plus. Means I'm adding some value or I'm trying to add something else. Then after plus, I'm trying to keep a name. I try to simply specify name. So if you see this name, so name is a variable which got defined at line number 2. And we try to store some value inside that name variable, right? So whatever the value it gets stored inside this name variable, now it is going to print that value, right? Okay. Then in the next statement at line number 11, again I am trying to say system.out.println. So I want to print something onto the console. So I am trying to say system.out.println. Then again in the parenthesis bracket, I simply specified MSG. Now if you see this MSG, so MSG is a variable which I have defined at line number 3. Now inside this MSG variable, whatever the value it got stored, it will try to print that particular value onto the console. Got it, guys? Now let us try to understand the real flow, how exactly the flow happens in a Java programming language. When you try to compile and when you try to run the program, so always remember, guys, first the program will always comes to the main method. It's not only with Java, take any programming language. So always the first control will go to your main method. So this is the syntax of main method, guys. For few days, we'll try to follow or we'll try to write the syntax as it is. After few classes, we'll try to understand what is meant by this public, what is meant by this static, void, main, and string array of aux. So as it is a very basic program, so for time being, we'll try to write the syntax as it is. Okay, fine, guys. So whenever you try to compile and whenever you try to run the program, so always first the control goes to the main method. Now inside this main method, what we are trying to do? I am trying to create an object to my class. So what is your class name? Class name is welcome, right? So I am trying to say welcome. Then after that, I have given a reference variable. So reference variable, you can give any name. So here I have given the reference variable name as W is equal to new welcome. So this is the way how we are going to create an object to the class. Getting my point, guys? My class name is welcome, so I have specified welcome. Reference variable, we can give anything. So here I have given the reference variable as W is equal to new welcome. Created an object to my class. Now, whenever you try to create an object to the class, now inside your class, what all the variables we are having and what all the methods we are having, all the variables and all the methods will be loaded into the memory. Okay, they will be getting loaded into the memory. Once they got loaded into the memory, now you can access to these variables and you can access to these methods with the help of a reference variable, with the help of a reference variable. Now I created an object at line number 14. Okay, when you try to create an object to the class, now inside my class, I have two variables, name and message variable, and I have two methods, store details method and display details method. So all of them will be loaded into the memory. Now, once they got loaded into the memory, now I want to access to this method, store details method. So how to access? So now I know the method name and I know the reference variable name. So I am trying to say my reference variable dot specify your method name. So what is the method name? Store details method. So I am trying to say method name as store details method. Now, if you look at the store details method, it is expecting two inputs from the user, correct? So now, and both the inputs should be of type string data type. So now I am trying to say w.store details method, and first value I am trying to pass it as Giridhar. Okay, and second value I am trying to pass it as welcome to Java world. Now, from line number 15, the control will go to your line number 5 and it starts executing the store details method. When it is executing the store details method, in N, it will try to store a value something called as Giridhar, and in M, it will try to store a value something called as welcome to Java world. Okay, then after that, now it goes inside the method. Now, once it goes inside the method, in line number 6, I am trying to say name is equal to N. As I told you, in Java, always the assignment happens from right hand side to left hand side. So right hand side, you have an argument something called as N, which is holding a value something called as Giridhar. Now that Giridhar value will be copied into your name variable. Then after executing line number 6, in line number 7, I am trying to say MSG is equal to M. Again, assignment happens from right hand side to left hand side. Now if you see right hand side, again I have an argument called as M, which is holding a value something called as welcome to Java world, and that value will be copied into your MSG variable. Now in name variable, we try to store a value something called as Giridhar, and in MSG variable, we try to store a value called as welcome to Java world. Now, after executing line number 7, there are no more statements to execute. Means your entire store details method got executed. Now from line number 8, the control will go back to your main method. The control will go back to your main method. So after that, I'm trying to say w dot display details method. Now I want to call to the display details method. So I'm trying to say my reference variable dot display details method. I'm calling to the display details method. When you call to the display details method, from line number 16, the control goes to your line number 9. So now if you see the display details method, it is not taking any arguments. So no need to pass any values. So if you see at line number 16, when I'm trying to call to the method, I'm not passing any values, right? So if you have arguments, we need to pass a value. If you do not have any arguments, no need to pass any value. So if you see display details method is not taking any argument, so I'm not going to pass any values. So at line number 16, I'm trying to say w dot display details method. I'm calling to the display details method. Again from line number 16, the control will go to your line number 9 and it starts executing the display details method. Now inside this display details method, first statement what I am trying to say, I am trying to say system dot out dot println. So whenever you want to print something onto your console, we need to keep a statement something called as system dot out dot println. Now in double quotes, whatever you keep, that value will be printed as it is. So in double quotes, I am trying to say hello. After hello, still I want to print some additional information. So I am keeping a plus symbol. Then after that, I specified name. Now if you see name, so name is a variable which is holding a value something called as Giridhar. So it simply says hello Giridhar. Then next statement, after executing line number 10, now next statement in line number 11, again, sorry, in line number 11, again I am trying to say system dot out dot println. Then I am trying to say MSG. Now MSG is a variable it is holding a value something called as welcome to Java world. So that will be printed as it is on the console. Then after executing line number 11, there are no more statements to execute. Means your entire store details method got executed. So from line number 12, the control will go back to your main method. Now after executing line number 16, there are no more statements to execute. Now the program is going to be terminated in the safe mode. Okay guys, now the program is going to be terminated in the safe mode. Hope everyone understood this program, right? Now let's save this program and then let's try to compile it and let's try to execute it. Okay, so let me just simply say Control S. Then okay, so what I will try to do, I'll try to save this program under my desktop. Under desktop, I have a folder with name something called as Core Java Tutorial. I'm going into this folder. So here inside this folder, I'm going to save my program. So program name is welcome. So it's always better to copy the program name. So let me say Control C, Control S. So under desktop, I have a folder with name something called as Core Java Tutorial. Under that, I'm trying to keep my program. So in a computer, so for every file, you will have certain kind of extension. Correct, guys? If you are trying to create a PowerPoint presentation, so it has an extension something called as .ppt. If you are trying to create a Word document, it has an extension something called as .doc. If you are trying to create an Excel sheet, it has an extension something called as .xls, right? So every file will have an extension. In the same fashion, whenever you are trying to create any Java program, so the program should have an extension something called as .java. So class name is welcome. So I am trying to say welcome and then .java. I'm trying to give it as .java. So let me save it as all types. Okay. So program name is welcome. So extension I am trying to give it as .java. And then let me simply say save it. Now the program got saved. So if you want, let's go to the desktop. Now if you see under my desktop, I have a folder with name something called as Core Java Tutorial. Correct? Now let's open this folder. So once I have opened this folder, now if you see my program got saved here. Now I have opened the folder. Now in the folder on the top, you are able to see the address bar. Correct, guys? So in the address bar, so I'm going to select the address bar, or I'm just simply trying to keep my cursor on the address bar. Now let me simply say CMD. CMD it stands for command prompt. So basically it will try to take you to our DOS command prompt. So let me press the enter button. Now once you press the enter button, so it has taken you to the command prompt. And if you see, my command prompt is pointing to my directory something called as core java _ tutorial. So let me just clear the screen. Now we'll try to see so how to compile the program and how to run the program. So in order to compile the program, so we are going to make use of a command something called as java c. C stands for compiler. Java compiler. I am trying to give an instruction to the Java compiler saying, so WEL welcome.java. So I am trying to say, hey Java compiler, please compile my program, and the program name is welcome.java. So let's press the enter button. So it did not show any errors, means the program got compiled successfully. Okay, now the program has compiled. So once the program has compiled, next step is to run the Java program. So let's see how to run the Java program. So in order to run the program, so we are going to write a statement something called as, or we are going to write a command something called as Java space welcome. So let me simply say Java space welcome. Now let's press the enter button. Now if you see the output, we are getting it as hello Giridhar, welcome to Java world. Right guys? So some people, they may be thinking in this fashion. So instead of creating a store details method and then storing the values inside these variables. So why can't we give here directly as Giridhar? Okay, so why can't we give directly here as Giridhar? And why can't we pass a message directly here, welcome to Java world? So we can write in this fashion also, guys. There is nothing wrong. But so if we are doing something like this, so now the program does not have a dynamic capability. Okay, dynamic capability means, so even if you run this program for 100 times, you will get the same output. So the output will not be modified. So in order to have the program dynamic capability, I haven't initialized the values at the first. So I'm trying to initialize the values something like this by making use of an argument. Okay, guys. Okay, fine, guys. We'll try to do one thing. So the second program, addition of two numbers and subtraction of two numbers, we'll try to do it in the next session. So that's fine. So for today's program or for today's session, so let's try to simply create a program where to take two values and try to display those values. Okay, then addition and subtraction of any two numbers, we'll try to do it in a next session. Okay, guys. Fine. So if you people wants to download this program, so you can go to my github.com. So I have my GitHub account. So you people can find github.com under that bggiridhar163. Okay, guys. github.com under that bggiridhar163. Under that, I have created a repository with name something called as Core Java tutorial. So under this GitHub account, I'll be trying to keep every day's Java programs. So if you want, you can go to this particular URL and you can download the program. Okay, as I told you people, guys, like if you want to follow us on any new batches, or if you want to people, or if you people want to know about the latest job openings, you people can browse us on Facebook with our Java online training. Okay, guys. So we, as I told you, so we have some couple of openings for UST Global, guys. So where they are expecting some profiles like Java, Spring Boot, and Hibernate knowledge, as well as they have some openings for Java and Selenium. If anyone is interested, they can forward their profiles to me, so I can forward to them. Okay, guys. So in UST Global, so there is a company with name something called as a UST Global, where they have lot of openings on Java and Selenium. If anyone is interested, they can forward their profiles, so I can forward to UST Global. Okay, guys. And then for any updates on new batches, either you can reach us on Java online training, or you can go to our website joctopus.co.in, or you can follow us on Instagram on instagram.com/joctopus.co. Sorry, joctopus.technologies. Okay, guys. Bye bye. See you in next session.